Are we counting Mississippi?
Mississippi. Mississippi. I like that.
One Mississippi.
And I'm also going to close my Facebook down first.
Yeah.
We don't get that.
We can.
And I'm also going to close my Facebook down first.
Yeah.
We don't get that. And there it is. Oh, we're live. We're live. Let's see. I'm waiting to see if we're going to show up on our Facebook. It's about a 9-second delay, they say.
I've just seen where we're at with that, so I've put my phone so I'm viewing it so I can see the comments. Oh, Brian's here already. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Hey. There, no, that's our old one. Why I don't see our new one. Can you see us, Gav, so we can answer comments?
Yeah, we got John Paxton here. We got Paris here. Beth's here. Well, hey, all going well.
Our family.
Brilliant. Good to see everybody here.
Oh, got it now. It's so good to have you guys here. It's so good to be back. Oh, I'm so happy. I miss this.
Try to sort this out so I can see the comments and I can see that. Brilliant. Okay, looks like we've got Scott here as well. Right, brilliant. I think we're all ready. We've got everybody in for the moment. Welcome back. We have had a trying few weeks, all of us. So thank you to everybody for joining us. And Lena's all moved in now. Although I think your house is still a little bit, you know, it need a bit of organisation, isn't it? Yeah, I've got no. You're muted, Lena.
No, I was just doing that on purpose. Because remember, you needed to read my, yeah, so I was just testing you.
Fair enough.
Yes, almost moved in. Still a couple of rooms that are a little chaotic, but I'm getting there.
Brilliant. So when you got the West Wing sorted, you can start on the East Wing and you know, take it from there.
Right. The West Wing is done.
Yeah, that's it. So right,
I'm really enjoying the thunderstorms though. Ooh, I love them every day.
Yeah, I tell you what, in Miami, that was the one thing that was like kind of so, it was better than a firework display. Seeing the lightning storm sometimes in the purple sky is beautiful. I really miss that. So thank you to everybody for being patient over the last few weeks while we've had a few little crises going on with technology, and it looks like we are now back, and we're going to go back to doing this fortnightly and Clubhouse fortnightly. Is that right? Yep.
That's right. That is correct.
Brilliant. So where are we going to kick off?
So I think tonight, guys, we're going to kick off with something that we told you we would continue talking about in the last live. And that's when Gavin was talking all about those thought distortions or memory relapses. I can't remember the term you used, but it's when you walk into a room or go to the refrigerator and you're like, oh, why am I here? What did I do? Why did I walk into this room? You leave the room and then you come back and you remember and you forget. So he's going to talk about that, how to overcome it, because I would love to learn how to overcome that. So this is actually new for me as well. I get to learn today. And then we're going to roll into a little bit about talking more about awareness and identifying some signs when people are targeting you for anything. They're trying to pitch you something, sell you something, manipulate you, deceive you, hit on you, whatever it is, but you've just become a target. You become a blip on their radar. And I have 10 top signals that you are going to sense when somebody has purposely targeted you for some reason. Now, sometimes it could be a good reason, but sometimes it's malicious. And we want you to be able to identify those top signals and say, I think this person just purposely targeted me and I want to know why. What do they want from me? So we're going to walk through that as well.
Right then. So the build up to this has been way too big. And I think people are going to be expecting some kind of really kind of magical technique. And and it's really, really simple and stupid. So, but First off, what I'll do is I'll go over what happens. So, like, imagine you're at home, you're lying on the bed, maybe watching a bit of telly if you've got a television in your room, and you think, you know what, I want myself a glass of milk out of the fridge. So you leave your bedroom, you go down, in Lena's case, probably 7 flights of stairs, make your way over to the past the library, the banquet hall, and to the kitchen. And when you get there, you open the fridge and you go, what did I come here again for? And it's gone. And then you close the door and you go back up the stairs, and then you get back onto your bed and you're about to turn the telly on, you go, milk. That's what it was. I wanted a glass of milk. So the reason it happens is because in each and every room, there is a whole bunch of memories that gets triggered. We take in 11 million bits of information per second, and only actually register about 40 of them. So as you're walking through each and every room, there is all this information that is coming to you. You filter out the majority of it, but your subconscious mind takes in all of it, and it picks up all the little things that you go, oh, I meant to do this, I was going to do that, I forgot to do the other, and all these memories keep coming back to you and keep kind of, and they kind of flood, your entire thought process, as it were. So as you go in from your bedroom, as you leave in, you might spot something. You think, oh yeah, I meant to get a bit of paint on that bit there because that wasn't looking too clever. And you come down the stairs and your mind starts wandering, and you go to the next level down, and you're in the first room, and all these thoughts are going on in your head of all these things that you're seeing, and you're not even aware are going into your subconscious mind. And by the time you've actually made it to the fridge, there's been that much happen, and that many subconscious thoughts that have gone in and out of your actual conscious mind without even you being aware of it, that you've opened the fridge door and you go, oh, totally forgot what I was here for. So that's the reason why it happens. So now you know and you're aware of it. The trick is, and it's really, really stupid and simple, is just to keep reminding yourself each and every step of the way by either singing yourself a song, right? I'm on my way to the fridge, gonna get myself a glass of milk. And don't ask me to do that again. And just keep doing it all the way down the stairs.
This is being recorded, by the way.
I know, yeah. I'm never going to live that down, am I? Next time.
No, you won't.
No, I'm going to get my daughter to play the piano in the background next time for it. You know what? I reckon somebody's going to end up doing a remix of that, and it's going to end up on YouTube. Or anyway. Before somebody's got me on TikTok on 1 million views. The other thing to do is get angry with yourself and have a little mini argument. This is going to sound like you're some schizophrenic nutcase at the end of the night, but literally say to yourself, oh, really? You want me to go and get myself a glass of milk right now? Really? And you have to get them, right, I'm going to get you a glass of milk, but this is the last time I'm doing it. And argue with yourself all the way to the fridge. And what it does, it blocks out all the other thoughts that could be creeping in. It keeps them at bay because you're that consumed with having the argument with yourself about fetching yourself a glass of milk that you've kind of become two separate people that are focused on the argument. So there you go. Have a little row, have a little sing-song, and get the glass of milk you always wanted. And if you fall out with yourself and then you throw milk at yourself, you've done something wrong.
You definitely have. A couple of things come to mind as listening to this. Number one, singing. Everybody can sing songs, right? We learn them like this. We memorize them. We just sing them. But then ask me to read a lesson plan and tell you what I just read, even if it's like 3 key points. I'm like, oh, what was the third one? Yet I can sing an entire U2 song to you, right? Yeah. How does that happen? So is that why it's better to sing I'm going to get myself a glass of milk versus I'm going to tell myself? Because I don't know if there's any correlation.
Well, basically, it comes down to novelty. So the part of our brain that stores memory is exactly the same part of our brain that stores novelty and emotion. So those are your 2 methods of learning. If something's novel and it's really new and you're really intrigued and interested by it, it's more likely to stay in your long-term memory a lot longer. And the same with emotion. Excuse me. Too much Coca-Cola. So every kind of memory that you've got, in your entire long-term memory, everything you look back at has some kind of emotional connection one way or the other, even if you don't think it has. So this kind of way of doing this is if ever you want to memorize something, either add an emotional link while you're learning, or like I say, sing the song, because or just do something really, really crazy. So I remember when I was teaching body language to someone once, and I was talking to them about different signs, and I was on about, like, you can take something like, say if you were to put your hair behind your ear, Lena, and you want to say, right, is that baseline for this person? Is this something they do regularly, or is it abnormal? And you want to memorize it, then you can memorize it as maybe you've got claws going over through your hair, turning into the comb, and the ear gets really, really big, and visualize it on the side of the face like a really big ear. And what you've got, it's so stupid, it's so childish, it's so unusual that it becomes novel, and the brain takes it in, because at the end of the day, who's the fastest learners? Children. So if you make something childish, you're more likely to remember it. So this is the way to do it. Make things really, really obscure, really out there, and these are the best ways to kind of memorize it. And when it comes to singing, if you can make it something that is already in your long-term memory that you can kind of link the two together with. So the milk song, for example, if you mix that with something like Happy Birthday, which everybody knows, gonna get myself milk, gonna get myself milk. I swear, if this ends up on TikTok, I'm going to assassinate somebody. So this is how you can do it, because you get it's in your long-term memory. And there are other techniques and ways to take stuff from your like kind of short-term memory to your long-term memory and bridge them over if you want to remember them. But I forgot. No, I'm just kidding. We'll tell you next week.
That's cute. All right. Before I go on to my other thing that I wanted to talk about, Sarah had a great question. Can that work to distract from negative thoughts that plague a mind after something uncomfortable has happened?
It can do. I tend not to kind of distract yourself from negative thoughts, because negative thoughts are usually there for a reason. They're usually there to either tell you something's wrong or give you a warning that you need to deal with something or address something. So distracting yourself from something is just like delaying the inevitable a little bit. So, and again, I can't go too deep into all of it and speak. I can only generalize without knowing what those negative thoughts and those events and those emotions are. So maybe at some point, Sarah, if you want to link up with me, we can look at a way to explore and kind of give you a better coping mechanism or help you to deal with it. So, but you're more than welcome.
John Paxton said, is it similar to purposeful sensory overload? Are you just doing it to naturally over a longer period of time? Would singing, I'm not buying anything I don't need, help in that case? I love that. I need to sing that song.
Yeah, I'm going to say I need to sing that myself sometimes, especially when I'm going online and I see all the pretties. I wouldn't like to say for sure with that. I'm going to experiment with it and I'll get back to you, John. I'm going to go and see if I sing that as I'm walking through the superstore and see what happens. And maybe this time
we could.
Yeah.
We could do a social experiment with all of our viewers here in the TCG tribe. We could actually do a social experiment for a week, or when we come back in a fortnight, to say, hey, try singing something and see if it actually embeds in the long-term memory. And I guess persuades your decision-making process or affects it.
Yeah, let's go down that route. Let's go down the route of kind of, if you know you're going to the store for one thing and it is just a kind of gallon of milk and that's all you've got to go in and out for. Let's try it. Let's sing yourself a song as you go in, grab yourself your milk that you need, pay and get out and see what happens and see if it works for you. And if you get home and you forgot the bread and your wife starts giving you a hard time, then don't blame me.
All right, guys, there you have it. This is going to be our social experiment this week, and we're going to check in on the tribe. Try to sing yourself something that you want to do and see if it actually impacts your decision-making process in the moment when that time comes this week. And if we all want to do, I'm not going to buy more than I need, or something I don't need, or I'm going to the store only for, which I'm notorious for, adding a whole bunch of other stuff I don't need, see if it works. I love Perry said with a surname of Bates, he cannot get away talking to himself. I would agree.
Probably not.
So the other thing,
Mhm.
which I love, but the other thing, Gav, I was thinking about, you said something about arguing, have a fight with yourself. And by the time you get to the kitchen, you're going to remember that because it blocks out all the other thoughts. Is it because it is a negative thing and I'm emotional?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
a lot of people are going to go crazy about this when I first say, but hear me out. Negative thoughts are actually more powerful than positive thoughts.
Yes.
And there's going to be so many gurus who are going, no, that's not true. Right. The reason
Doesn't mean they're better.
Oh no, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not. The reason they're more powerful is because they have to be. It's part of the survival thing. It's from years and years ago, evolutionary time when we were, cavemen and cavewomen. And what happened was we'd go to get some berries or go to a bush, and all of a sudden we'd touch a leaf and it'd sting, and we'd be like, "Ow, didn't like that. Didn't like the way that happened." And that's a negative action. But what happens is we look at that leaf and we go, "Yeah, that one stings those nettles. I'm going to remember them. I'm not going to come back and do that again." So they have to be more powerful because it reinforces all the things that hurt and are dangerous and the things that you want to avoid more so than positive things. And this is why when I've said to people, when it comes to negative thoughts, if you want to try and counter them, don't try and stop them. You'll never stop them. But if you want to try and counter them, every time you have a negative thought, think of 3 positive things. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you've got 3 that you know that you can default to, and if you haven't, go and make yourself a short little list, and just think of 3 particular times in your life or 3 particular events that really positive things happened, or times you felt really, really positive, that you can just kind of bring back to the forefront of your mind anytime something negative happens. And that will really help with kind of coping with it. So
I love that. And that power of 3, right? We
yeah.
can remember everything chunked in 3.
I'm going to give you another little bonus here that Grant actually kind of disagrees with me a little bit on this, but I don't think he's here tonight, so I'll probably get away with it. So what I'm going to talk about really quickly, this is kind of, I wasn't going to throw this in originally, but I'm going to tell people about how to achieve more. And the way you do it is by not setting goals. And this is going to be counterintuitive to a lot of people who say, well, hang on a minute, I hear this kind of thing all the time. And the reason you hear this kind of thing about setting goals as being a good thing is because, at the end of a race, they go up to the athlete and they say, so tell us, why do you think you won? And they go, well, I set a goal that I was going to win this race this year and then I was going to retire. Or it could be somebody who's on a diet and they've lost 100 pounds. And then they say, right, what happened? And they say, I set this goal up when I lost 100 pounds, I was going to get myself a vacation to Australia or something. So we hear these things of setting goals as being kind of the language of winners and what winners say. So therefore we go, yeah, I'm going to set myself a goal and I'm going to achieve the same thing, and it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work, imagine that race that athlete was in, right? There's 20 people in this race. Right, the one that won gets interviewed and he says, I set the goal to win this year. Well, what do you think the other 19 didn't? Do you think one of them turned around and say, you know what, my goal was to come 7th. I didn't want to win, I wanted to lose, but I still wanted to be in the top 10. Right? No, same with people who diet. All the other, they've got the concentration on the guy that lost 100 pounds. He said, I set a goal, I was going to get myself a holiday if I did it. Everybody who diets sets themselves a goal. Even if it's just losing a few pounds, it doesn't even have to be specific. And say, oh, well, my goal was to lose X amount of pounds or just to shape up for summer. Everybody sets goals. And the problem is not everybody achieves them. So what you've got to do is you've got to look at not wanting to change, not wanting to set a specific goal, but actually look at changing your lifestyle and your technique of achieving your desired outcome a little bit. For example, if you want to lose weight, you've just got to change your thought pattern a little bit and say, kind of, right, what do I do to lose weight? And the problem again with goal setting is a lot of people, they'll train and train and train for a race, but after they've won or lost the race, they will stop training. People who kind of, once they've achieved their goal, that's it. You get people who they go on a diet and they get thinner and thinner and thinner, they get to their ideal target weight, and then when they've achieved it, they start eating as normal again, and then all of a sudden they put all the weight back on again. So what you've got to look at is you've got to change your mindset a little bit, and people have done it. People have turned around and said, right, instead of turning around and saying I want to lose weight, they say I want to be a healthy person. and they change
Oh, I
their
like that.
thought pattern a little bit. And when they're going out for lunch, they go, right, I want to be a healthy person. What would a healthy person eat? What would a healthy person order? And then they start having these healthier meals. They start living their life a little bit healthier. And what happens is that they then become that healthy person. They've convinced themselves that they are that healthy person. So you get this internal dialogue and people go, right, I'm a healthy person. I'm going to eat a healthy lunch. I've come across people so many times and they say, yeah, do you know what? I'll start eating healthy when I get fit. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know?
That does not work that way.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I wish it did. So it's like trying to drink yourself sober. In fact, I think I've actually tried that a few times. So,
Oh, I think I did that once. Yeah, I think I did accomplish that one time. It was with sangria, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, so a little bit on goals also. When I was going through my leadership training at Cornell, it's, you know, we sometimes set these really lofty, huge, unrealistic goals. And, you know, maybe for me, it's, I'm going to drop 10 pounds in a month. That's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. And I can't just set that one goal. I got to give myself little steps along the way to achieve to get there. And so you set process goals, and maybe it's, I change my eating habits this week. Maybe it's, I stop drinking alcohol for a month. Maybe it's, I go to a vegan diet. Maybe it is, you know, I'm going to weigh myself and be accountable every single day. But if we start making them like, I'm going to drop 5 pounds in a week, probably not going to happen. And if I don't, then I'm going to feel bad. Right. And so keeping that positive, instead of thinking I can't have, you got to reverse and say, I can have all this awesome new vegan food that I can't wait to try. Instead of wine, I can have whatever. And I think it's all back to that thoughts, right?
Yeah,
changing
definitely.
thoughts, making things positive and making
At least you
work for
said
you.
a minute ago, develop habits, not goals, which is very, very true. Absolutely spot on.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah. That's perfect.
The
Yep.
slightest change, you know, in direction can have you in a completely different place long term. And I want to mention something as well called habit stacking. I've learned all of this from the book I mentioned to you, Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits.
Highly recommend that to absolutely anybody who hasn't read it. It is probably the best non-fiction book I've ever read in my life. Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talks about something called habit stacking. It worked for me a long, long time ago. I used to go to the gym, and if I got onto something like the cross trainer, I just get bored. So what I did is I said to myself, right, there was something like season 4 or season 5 of Blacklist that was coming out. I absolutely loved Blacklist. I was itching to watch it, and I said, right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around to the gym. I want to get on the cross trainer. I'm going to put Blacklist on with my earphones in, and I'm going to start with episode 1. And I'm not going to come off the cross trainer until I've watched that episode. And that's my kind of reward for working out. It worked brilliantly because I wouldn't come off the cross trainer until the episode had finished, and I wouldn't let myself watch Blacklist unless I was on the cross trainer. The two kind of went hand in hand. I ended up losing a hell of a lot of weight, getting a lot fitter, and got the enjoyment of watching Blacklist at the same time. It was so fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it to everybody for kind of forming new habits, because the reward was double-edged, because even though I didn't necessarily enjoy it first, the cross trainer, after a time I did enjoy going to the gym, and it was related to the enjoyment as well of watching Blacklist. So brilliant way of forming habits. So I've taken up enough time going off piece with that. I apologize. But hopefully some people found that a little bit useful, and I will ping it over to you, Lena. We're going to go on to your favorite subject, elicitation.
Well, I love it, but I just wanted to share that when I go to the gym, I listen to my Audible. I listen to all my books. So now I actually look forward to, like, oh, I get to pick up who's killing who's doing what. And as soon as I get on the treadmill, listening to my Audible. So I love that. Something I did want to ask you, you said earlier on, you know, we have billions of thoughts coming into our head, and only a couple stick, and they're unconscious, right? They're coming in unconsciously. So this is kind of a good segue I'm going to use into what we're going to talk about next. When people come into my 3-month program in elicitation, when they're first learning elicitation, it's hard. It's a whole new way of speaking. It's an entirely different conversational skill set. And you're not allowed to ask questions. And people are like, oh, and they get tongue-tied, right? And then they get stuck and like, can't do this. And it's just different. It's very different. And when you go through the program, as you know, it's the crawl, walk, run. We set a good foundation, and then we get into techniques and start playing around and using them.
Yeah.
And at some point, everybody says, every single person I have trained in elicitation comes to me and says, oh my God, Lena, I just had a conversation today and I didn't even realize that I was eliciting and I got all this information and I never even asked a question and they had no idea. We call it in the military, we used to say the light bulb came on, right? Meaning the light bulb came on because all the bits and pieces fit together. And you don't have to look and think about all the bits and pieces separately anymore. You're not thinking about planning the approach, controlling the conversation, how are you going to use transitions and bridges, how are you going to exploit conversational gates, how to build rapport, how do you do, which techniques to use, how to profile your target, all that stuff. It gels all together. And so when I was talking to one of the participants in this class, she was saying, all of a sudden, I just feel like I don't have to, like somehow everything I learned just came out in this conversation. So I said, well, unconsciously, you are taking in everything of all the weeks of training, all the homework, all the conversations, all the stuff that you've been doing on your own. It was this unconscious learning where all those bits and pieces, maybe consciously you were like, I'm not thinking about it, but they all kind of seep in and then come out and they gel together and they have this conversation. All of a sudden you're inside an elicitation conversation and you're like, it's happening right now. Oh my God, it's happening. I'm actually doing it. And this person's giving me information. And I think, and I was going to ask you, is that what it's like, right? Especially for adult learners, when you're learning all of this new stuff and at some point it just starts happening and you're utilizing the techniques. Is it because it has seeped in unconsciously and now consciously you're making the connections?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, these kind of things, you reach this I'll try again, level of unconscious competence, kind of unknowingly.
Yes.
It's something that it's the same with anything. Like when you first, I use this kind of example so many times with so many things, especially with things like body language. I've had people ask me, you get the behavior panel and they look at these videos and they just, they can analyze people's body language and how do they concentrate on the breathing and the blink rate and what the body's doing and what the words are saying. And I said, it's a bit like driving a car. Remember when you first get into a car and you're young, it's your first time driving and you're concentrating on absolutely everything. Everything is a conscious effort. You have to look for where the blinker stem is. You have to look to put it into drive. You have to, look for where the stereo is to turn the volume down. And you're looking in the mirror and everything you do, even taking your foot off the brake and onto the gas, is such a very kind of gradual, conscious effort to do. And then fast forward a couple of years, and you're getting into the car on your phone, eating a donut, starting it up, putting it into drive, pulling away, and you just do everything without even thinking about it. It just, and this is very much what it's like with pretty much any skill. It's you kind of one day it just changes. You just go to the point where you don't have to consciously look for the indicator anymore. You don't have to consciously look for putting it into drive and think about what you're doing. You just find you get into the car, you've got so used to it that it just naturally happens. So the more you do it, the more you practice it. A bit like getting in the car. Every time you do it unconsciously, you're just feeling for the gear stick more so than kind of looking for it, and it's automatic. So that's how it all happens.
There's 4 stages or 4 steps I used to teach a long time ago on one of my leadership courses, and it was something like that. You have, conscious, competent or incompetence, conscious learning, then unconscious competence. And I forget what the 4 things are, but it's basically you start off not knowing anything and you try to learn, and then you're actively taking what you're learning and all of a sudden just gelling all together, which ends into that unconscious competence.
It starts with unconscious incompetence, which is you're unaware. So you become completely unaware that like as a child, before you even know how a car operates, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't even know that you can't drive. Then when you get a bit older and you think, hang on, I don't know how I'm doing that, that's when you've reached a level of conscious incompetence. Then when you drive the car for the first time, you're at that level of kind of conscious competence. You are now aware that you can do it and how to do it. And then eventually the 4th and final one is where you're at a level of unconscious competence, where you're so good at it, done it so many times, just get in the car and drive. You don't even have to think about it. So is that the 4
I love it. There you go. Yeah, those were the 4. I was like, again, all jumbled. I'm like, I know there. Of course you would know it.
Well,
brilliant.
I must have been paying attention that day.
Well, you did good, but that's exactly what's happening when you read body language or when you're learning elicitation, even in interview interrogation, all that stuff that we talked about, even about, profiling. It's going to happen at one point unconsciously, and all the information is coming in, your receptors are open. So I think this might be a good way to kind of platform and jump off onto those indicators to know when people are targeting you specifically. Right? When they are just showing a little too much interest in you for whatever reason, it could be a positive one, it could be a negative one. And of course, we always like to share information so you guys can use this to protect yourselves. You know that we train, Gavin and I, elicitation. And elicitation is simply this. It's a conversational skill set that allows you to get information without ever asking a question. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And it's using provocative statements versus open-ended questions, or even yes, no, or close-ended questions. And it's really having the ability to control every conversation. You're actively thinking about, consciously, about having this conversation, how to perfect it, the words that you want to use to influence and persuade other people to want to be open and honest with you and give you truthful information, right? That's our overall objective. Now, some of you may have an objective of just networking. Some of you may have the objective of getting truthful information for someone. Whatever it is, using this can meet your objective. So we train people on how to bump people, strangers, people they know, how to build that rapport, how to get into that inner circle, how to gain their trust. And then we teach elicitation in the form of the conversational hourglass. And we teach you a bunch of techniques to use that you can get information without ever asking a question. And then coming back out and closing that conversation and leaving people very happy that they connected with you and very unassuming, right? And you've answered your objectives and your requirements, whatever they may be. On the flip side, there are people who, bad people, or people who are trying to use elicitation for a very bad purpose, con artists or manipulators, even people who are trying to pick you up on a date, whatever we call them. I don't even know what.
Pickup artists.
Yeah, pickup artists. I'm looking for another word, another term. Anyway, it's I can't remember it. But this is how you can identify it. What?
Men. Men in general.
This is some signs to be careful of, or to look for, to listen for. Now, your gut is going off, right? Your gut is saying, ooh, I don't know, creepy, beware, right? As Gavin talked about, where our brains are wired that way. It's evolutionary, if you believe in evolution, because it wants to protect us. And so you get that sense of, I don't know if I should trust this person. I think they're targeting me or after something, and maybe this is not a person I should allow into my inner circle or should trust them. And so we wanted to share a couple of those signs with you. We might get, I don't know what time. Oh yeah, we have time to get through all 10. And this actually came out of a random conversation I was having with one of my students. I run a one-on-one mentor program for half a year or a full year, to meet your objectives. And one of my mentors, or mentorees, I guess you'd call it, we just happened to have a conversation because he wanted to learn more about counter elicitation. Meaning, what do I do when I become the target of someone using elicitation on me? What do I do to protect my information, to protect myself? And so we had a great conversation on how to pick up on those indicators. And we're going to share them with you today. So it's behavioral indicators in other people that should make you second guess their intentions, because their intentions may be bad. All right. So let's start. Number one, if you have a conversation, a stranger bumps you, right? Casually. Somebody just happens to start a conversation with you. You don't know them, never met them before, and they take a liking to you or an interest, and they start having a conversation with you. And all of a sudden, you get the gut feeling that they are really trying to stay on one topic. And maybe that's where you work. And every time the conversation naturally goes somewhere else, they bring it back. And then you try to take it somewhere else, and they bring it back. And they just keep wanting to talk about where you work. That's a huge red flag. They're obviously after something. When you get that gut feeling, test it out, validate it. Try purposefully to take the conversation somewhere else. Try asking them an open-ended question. Try bringing up another topic. If they continually bring that conversation back around to your work, they're after something. Now, when we teach elicitation, we teach you how to control that conversation so you can stay on the topic of somebody's organization or their work, right? But if you're good at elicitation and you master these skills, the other person will never, ever know. If you're not good, you're going to give off these demeanor hits. And this is one of them. When somebody keeps trying to steer you to one topic and you can't get anywhere else. Gab, do you have anything to say about that one? Or if you've ever witnessed it?
The only thing I will say, and it can sometimes happen accidentally, and I know this from a fellow I used to work with. He went out and he bought himself a brand new Tesla, and everywhere he went, he said to people, "So what kind of car do you drive?" You know, and they'd turn around and say, "Oh, you know, I drive a Taurus or whatever," and oh, okay. And what he'd do, he'd always push with it, so he was trying to get them to ask him what kind of car he drives, so he can say, "Oh, I've got a brand new Tesla," you know. So it was one of the things that you do have to be aware. Just also look at the fact that in these conversations that there might be an objective that the person's trying to get you to ask them. So, you know, just bear that in mind. But if you do feel like, you know, they've kept asking you where you work, and you've asked them where they work, and they've gone back to where you work again, and it keeps coming back to where you work, bear that in mind, you know. I mean, I don't know, you've probably got a better technique, Lena, but generally what I would turn around and go, you know, you're really interested in what I do for the government, and just wait for them to go, no, or panic, or whatever the case may be. Somebody who's highly trained won't, but somebody who's kind of amateur at this, they will realize that they've been rumbled. I dare say you've probably got a better method to deal with that, Lena.
Well, I've created a method. So I have a method that I created over the years to get out of a conversation you don't want to have. And I call it the R method. It's ARRE. It's super easy. It's 4 steps. It's acknowledge what the person says. It's respond. And that may be just a smile, a head nod, or a yeah. It is redirecting and exiting that conversation. It's so easy. I have examples and we'll get more into that. But I loved what you just said about that, because Gavin, I know a person in my circle who continually wants to talk about their work and how much money they make. And every conversation that we have always goes back to their work and how much money they make and how much money they give other people, because it's this constant need for that recognition that they make this much money, and they're constantly want to talk about how much money they make over other people. I mean, I don't stop them. I let them, whatever. But so yes, if somebody is trying to steer a conversation in that manner, it may be because they just want to talk about themselves.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is the flip side of it. But, you know, like I say, it's like what Lena says, take her advice here, test the water, see what happens. You know,
test the water, because if it's not focused on them and they keep pinging it back to you and where you work and how much money you make or whatever, now they're after something. Now they're digging for something, and that should be a red flag.
Definitely.
All right. Number 2, if this person, and you're in a casual conversations, I meet strangers every day. I have conversations with strangers every day. I'm sure you guys too as well. If at some point it starts to get creepy and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this person is making me feel really uncomfortable. They look uncomfortable. Like they look insecure, worried, and now they're making me feel that way. There's a reason why. It's maybe because they know they have a hidden agenda, and that is to find out something about you, and they're nervous about trying to get it from you. And so that nerves makes their demeanor come across as very insecure, very worried, very anxious. And you're picking up on that, which then in turn makes you feel the same way. It's mirror neurons. You're going to start to adopt their emotions, right? Because emotions are contagious, which is why when you learn the art of elicitation, you have to be calm and confident all the time, because then the other person is as well. The minute you become insecure, the minute you become too worried or too anxious, that other person's starting to feed off of that and can catch your emotion. It's also called emotional contagion. But if you just get a sense that this person is starting to get a little creepy, a little insecure, a little anxious, there may be a reason why, and that could be a red flag. Over to you, Gav.
Yeah, so I mean, we mentioned earlier about how the subconscious brain takes in 11 million bits of information per second, and you actually only get to process around about 40 of them by the time they're filtered. So a lot of the times there's these little warning signals that you've picked up from somebody. They can happen in as little as 125th of a second. They're known as thin slices in the world of psychology because of them being so much, of a fraction of a second, and they're sending a little signal to your brain usually from where we get that gut feeling, because your subconscious mind is giving you that little alarm bell to say something's not right here. And even though you're not maybe consciously picked up on it, your subconscious brain is so much more powerful, and believe me, it knows something's wrong. That's why it's sending you that gut feeling. That's why when you meet people, you go, do you know what, I don't know what it was, there's something about him, just the intuition that kind of made me feel that way. So a few people have mentioned about Gavin de Becker. I know Brian is a big fan of The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. Brilliant book when it comes to intuition. But that's giving you like a bit of a brief explanation as to why we get that gut feeling, and why we should never ever ignore it. Back over to you, Lena.
Good. All right. So number 3. So we covered 1 and 2. This is number 3. This person all of a sudden is becoming really pushy with you, and they're really pushing and forcing this conversation. It almost feels contrived, right? That's a red flag. They're after something. They're trying to steer it somewhere, or they're trying to get you to a place that they want to talk about or a topic they want to discuss. If it becomes very pushy and it feels very contrived, then investigate it. Ask a couple questions, or you maybe want to say, Gavin, you seem really interested in where I work. Why is that? And just call them out. Yeah.
Which it can be great. When I first thought about this, I thought about the fact that you could have gone down the route of going, do you know what, I'm not in the mood for talking about work. I'm not enjoying work at the minute. But the problem is with that is if it is an elicitation technique where somebody is trying to get use a system on you where they want to elicit information from you, they've given you you've given them an actual kind of method to get it. They now know that you're fed up with your work, and they're going to try and use that to kind of win you over, or whatever the case may be. So it can be a little bit complicated, but rather than giving information out, like Lena said, call them out and say, you seem very, very interested in where I work. How come?
Just turn the tables on them. And instead of giving them ammo that they can use, because if I complained about work, well, I would use the elicitation technique, exploiting the instinct to complain, and maybe get you venting about something and then getting you into a conversation. But if I turn the tables and I ask you, oh, why are you so interested in where I work? Now I'm in control of that conversation at that point, right? All right. So number 4. You're in this conversation, a stranger approaches you, they have a conversation with you, but you get the sense that they're not really paying attention to what you're saying. They're kind of half there. They seem more in tune with thinking about what they're going to say to you. So if you feel that way, like, is this person really listening to me? I know I'm having a conversation, but it just doesn't seem like they're listening to me. They seem to be listening to the voice in their head more. Well, it could be because they're trying to think really hard of the next thing that they should say, want to say, and they're trying to control that conversation, because naturally we don't do that, right? Naturally, we like to listen to people, and it's kind of a give and take thing. But if this person is really focused on trying to use a technique to get you to open up about a certain topic, and they don't trust their skill set, they could be really overthinking how they're going to use that and how they're going to get you to divulge certain information. And so therefore they're kind of tuning you out because they're still trying to prepare how to elicit you.
Yeah. And I love to throw in something there just to go really, really off course with them. So as they're thinking and planning each and every kind of step, and they're trying to talk about how to bring it back to where you work or what you might have access to, whether you've got security clearance, that kind of thing. As they're planning it, just turn around and say something along the lines of, did you know on average people have fewer friends than their friends have? And then watch them go, what? Where did that come from? And you go,
Yes.
yeah, I was reading about it in a book the other day. Absolutely fantastic fact, which is actually a true fact. So, but yeah, and just you see it's like the whole castle they've been building has just been blown over, and they're like, where did that go? And then you can kind of reset and change the direction any way you want. So.
Yeah, that's like a total pivot, right? Just pivoting that conversation. Yes, I love that. All right. Number 5. The what?
If you can do a confusion statement, it's even better, but that's a conversation for.
Yep. Okay, so number 5, this is the classic one, guys. They're not asking you questions, right? They're just making statements and hope that you continue to offer up information. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, they're pushing. They seem a little nervous. They're not asking me questions, and they're taking, which is number 6, really long pauses before they speak. Something is not right. This isn't a natural conversation. It just feels like it's forced. Then it probably is. Yep. Number 7, they're talking, or they are talking more than you are. Okay, so good listeners talk way less. And Gavin and I can attest to this. All we have to do is say one little thing and you're going to vomit information up. A bad listener doesn't trust themselves, or they can't use the techniques that well. So they keep talking and talking and talking, and they cancel out what they just said and they replace it, or they ask you a question, then they make a statement, and it just seems like they keep correcting themselves. Let them talk. Let them correct themselves, and just sit back and wait until there's a pause, because this way you don't have to talk. And if you don't have to talk, you don't have to share information, and you protect your information. So if this person seems to just doing this run-on dialogue, it's probably because they don't trust their conversational skill set.
Yeah, which is something that when somebody's very new to this, nerves will take over. Never underestimate the power of silence. It's absolutely phenomenal. Just I've done this just for fun. Wait for somebody to finish speaking and then just sit there and say nothing. And that uncomfortable silence will be so kind of, they'll be so eager to fill the gap. They'll start, kind of projectile talking. So we'll just kind of, we'll go down that route.
I like that.
Yeah, and just leave them to it. And then if you really, really want to ramp things up, if you're feeling extra mean, like I occasionally do, when they've talked for ages and ages and ages and they've waffled on and they've filled all the silences, you turn around and you say something. Don't get what you mean. Explain that to me.
I love that. Oh, that's good.
I'm usually in a mischievous mood.
All right, number 8, because we are going to get through these. Number 8 is all of a sudden you're in this conversation and you sit back and you think, why is it that I feel that I have to really explain everything? And why did I just tell this stranger that? I can't believe I just divulged how much money I make. Why did I do that? And why do I feel like I need to explain myself? Well, because maybe their technique worked and they got you to share information that you shouldn't have. And so think about that. If you are feeling that you're given a lot of information and you feel the need that you have to explain everything to them, it's probably because they're using some techniques to get you to talk more and get more information out of you. Number 9, and these last 2 are my favorite because these 2 are dead ringers. Number 9 is they just have a little bit or a little too much interest in you. Like you're thinking, this person doesn't know me. I've never seen them before, and they seem really, really interested in me. There's got to be something up here. Now, if they're not trying to pick me up, right? Why are you so interested in me and what I do or my hobbies, whatever it is? Why are you so interested in me if I don't know you and we are in a place where we should be having a quick conversation and then departing ways? All right. And then number 10, not only are they expressing way too much interest in you, but it's feigned. It's fake interest, and anyone can pick that one up. You know when people are genuinely interested in you and when they're not. And when they're not, there's a reason why. End the conversation. Get off the target because they're up to something that's no good.
Yep.
And so there they are. There's your 10.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it in any kind of nasty or malicious way. You can literally turn around and say,
No.
"Do you know, I feel like I've spoken to you more than I've spoken to my wife today. You know, she's going to get jealous. I'm going to get out of here." Anything you
I
need
love
to,
humor.
you know, have a little bit of a laugh with it, you know, and you can do it in a way where you can just literally end the conversation by saying, "Well, it's been great chatting to you, but Christmas is coming and I'm going. All the best and take care." And off you go, and you know, just kind of leave them to it. You don't have to kind of you know, depart on any kind of nasty way. You can leave it open, because you never know, at some point you might want to go back and find out what they do and why they're interested and who they work for. So.
Hey, Gav, I like blue waffles.
You like blue waffles? Parry said something like that in the comments, didn't he?
He did. I just liked it. Oh, John says I like the R. So let me give you a quick example. ARRE, acknowledge, respond, redirect, and exit. So I'm going to set this up. I'm at Starbucks and this person has keyed into me. I've become a blip on their radar and they're purposely targeting me because of whatever reason. But I know they just went through everybody waiting for the coffee at Starbucks. They picked me out. They singled me out. I can tell because I'm aware. I have that, you know, 180-degree awareness. I'm watching other people and this person beelines it to me. I got to ask myself why. And they bump me. Hey, hot day out today, right? Or this place is always so busy. Number one, acknowledge them. I know. Boom, done. That's all I need to do. And then they try again. So they say, you know, I just live down the street and this is the only Starbucks I ever go to. Now that's odd. Why would I care? I don't know you. So now I respond. I've already acknowledged. Now I respond. Oh, well, then you should maybe try another Starbucks. Maybe it won't be as busy. I respond. I look away. And they try and say something again. Well, where do you live? Now we got creepy, right? And so now I redirect the conversation. Whoops, my coffee is up. Listen, I hope you find a Starbucks that is less complicated than this one, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Have a great day. Enjoy your coffee. Bye. And that's all you do. And that happens within what? A minute, 2 minutes. Acknowledge the person, respond, redirect the conversation, and then get off the target, exit. And this can happen really, really fast, but it allows you to be respectful. You can use humor, and this way you don't draw attention to yourself. And you're not coming across as rude, and this person's like, oh, really? So you don't want to talk to me? You're too good for me, right? You don't even want to go down that road. Be friendly, be respectful, but respond, redirect, and get off the target.
It doesn't have to be anything over complicated. You can just keep it nice and simple and go, "Oh, blueberry muffins, you've just reminded me. I want to see if they still do them over here. Excuse me a moment." And just go over to the counter, go and have a look, see if they do them. And even better if they don't do something, and you know they don't do it, because you can feign looking around. Because if they feel the need to come over and go, "Hey, they're here," you know, then, you know, whereas if you turn around and say, you know, blueberry muffins with cherry bakewell tarts and icing on top with bananas, and then all of a sudden it's a little bit harder to find. So, you know, they did it in the last one, you know, in Nova Scotia. So yeah, you know, I like Rodney's just said here, kill them with kindness. Yeah, spot on, Rodney.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. Kill them with kindness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this way it doesn't, you know, if you're rude to someone, it gives them ammo to want to still engage with you. But if I'm nice to you, then people are like, oh, she was nice, I won't try and keep bothering her. Sometimes, most people, not everybody.
Yeah, not everybody.
Checking in with comments. Let's see. I love it. Everybody likes waffles, Blue. Awkward silence. We used to call it the pregnant pause.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody likes the pregnant pause. Oh, thanks, Brian. Do you guys have any questions for us? I mean, we talked a lot about different topics, but let us, as we're wrapping up here.
Yeah, we've got about. Oh, yeah, go.
Also, what would you guys like to hear us talk about for the next session? Because Gavin and I can come up with a million topics that we'd love to chat about. But if you have something that you're interested in, let us know. We'll do that.
So John Johnson has asked a question. Yeah. Why do you go into the supermarket with one intention in mind to purchase and walk out with more? And how do we stop it? Or do we watch out for traps? So There's a few reasons, and that's coming back to very similar to what I said earlier. When you go into the supermarket, you usually find whatever you want is always in the back, because they know that the common stuff that you're going to go in for, like milk that people run out of regularly, bread, things that you're going to regularly need to go to this, they're going to put that as far away as they can get it, because you have to walk past all the special offers on the way to the milk. You have to walk past all the things on the end of the aisles. You have to, and all these things. You go, oh, do you know what? Actually, I fancy some biscuits. Or, oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's get a bottle of wine while we're here. And before you know it, you're going back for a cart, or you're loading your arms up and you're walking to the counter, and you think, well, we came in for milk. So this is why you do it. And yes, there is ways of stopping it. We did talk about it earlier. We're going to do a little bit of a social experiment. Just so what you're going to do, you're going to sing yourself a song as you go through to the tune of Happy Birthday. I am just here for milk. And I swear, I'm going to regret this. I am so going to regret keep doing that. So yeah, give
Yes,
that
you
a try.
So I'm going to do it when I go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls. So I've been in there a million times and Home Depot, but when I go to Marshalls and I'm going back for towels or whatever, linens, and oh, that's a cute shirt. Oh, those are cute shoes. Oh, I like that necklace. I'm here for towels only. I gotta try something.
Anything else going? That's the reason they're always rearranging. Yeah, it is actually what they do. They deliberately rearrange stuff. It's not just to annoy people who are over 30. It is to actually, they know that you're going to go into the supermarket to go to a specific area where you know the milk is. Then when you get there and it's not there, you've got to start looking around. So because you're now looking around, you come across other stuff that you like. Yeah. So what's that, John?
Oh, and they also do other ploys. Like they do the misters on the produce, right? Mm-hmm. And it thunderstorms and rains. And as you're walking by, you didn't need produce that day. You were going for peanuts. And you're like, oh man, that kale looks so good and juicy because it's all wet and misty. I'm going to get some kale. And then you take this bunch of kale and you put it in a bag and it's all wet. And they weigh it when you get to the register. And now it weighs more than it did before because it's all waterlogged. So not only did you not need kale, but you bought kale and you paid too much money for it.
Yeah, and be aware, this is a nice little thing for you, because I found a lot of this out when I was studying psychology, that they keep the majority of the higher price stuff at eye level. So if you want your bargains, look above eye level. High level. So all your kind of branded stuff and your expensive stuff is going to be around about here. So for the kind of the better bargains, the cheaper stuff, that's going to be down right at the bottom or up at the top in some of the higher stores where they've got the shelves right at the top and it's out of reach. That's because they know that they're going to make more money by selling you the more expensive stuff. So but it looks like they've got way more on offer. So yeah, that's a nice little thing for you to be aware of. And generally the ends of the aisles. They know that if you put a single product or a handful of products on the ends of the aisles, for some reason, it appears to be more appealing. It can be exactly the same price as further down the aisle, but people tend to think it's related to some kind of an offer. So there you go.
I love it. I love it. I'm trying to read everybody's multisensory distractors. Yep. Why does it tell you?
Yeah, just spotted that with Rodney. Yep, that's the one.
I love it. Gosh. All right. So we covered why, all the bits of information coming in and distorting our thoughts and anchoring thoughts through arguing with ourselves and it was constantly repeating it. No, singing it or arguing it. Yep. So helping us staying on track.
So if anybody's got anything else that they use, maybe they write it on the back of the hand or something, I'm just going downstairs for a cookie or whatever they do, if you've got a technique that works for you that you can share with us, let us know. Let's share it with the group. Let's get it out there and we'll all give it a try.
I love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So we covered that. We talked a little bit about the unconscious learning and unconscious competence. And then we rolled into 10 signs that somebody may purposely be targeting you to extract crucial information, and then how to be aware of those signs and protect yourself so you do not give your information to strangers or anyone you shouldn't trust. And you guys, if you have any suggestions or topics that you would like us to talk about, in a fortnight. I love that I've adopted that term now. Let us know, put it in the comments, and we have that challenge. So we all have to do our challenge this week of singing in a store. Might be, looked at, get some weird looks, but do that. And what else, Gav, do we have for
You
everyone?
know what? I would love to know if anybody, going back a few weeks, we said we were going to leave ourselves a note for the following day to start the day off on a positive note.
Yes.
Did anybody
Yes,
do
we
that?
did.
Did anybody else? Because it's honestly, it's the best way to start the day. If you've left yourself a note, I used to have it. You remember the old Nokia phones years and years ago, and they say a little something
Yes.
when you first started them up. And I used to start mine up, and it was a second-hand phone. And when I first turned it on, this thing come on, and it said, "Hello, gorgeous," and it made me smile. So I actually kept it there. Yeah, and it can work. It doesn't have to be on your phone. You can leave yourself a note of a night time. It'd be really great to just to start the day off. You look at on your bedside nightstand in the morning, and you see a note and it says, "Good morning, beautiful." And and it kind of puts you in that feel good mood and makes you smile for the rest of the day. So so let's give that a try for those who didn't. If anybody did, please let us know and how it made you feel. Did it start you off on the right note? And the other one is the music, starting the day off to that real feel good song. So if anybody tried that, let us know as well. If you didn't, set your alarm instead of having it to that annoying that wakes you up in a bad mood. Set it up to your favorite feel good song, something that really makes you feel good. Set that as your alarm tone, and again, see if your day gets better. So let us know how you get on, and we will see you next week. We will be on what's
Clubhouse next week.
Clubhouse. Yeah, Clubhouse next week.
What's it called? Sing it, Gav. You got to sing it.
Oh no, I'm not doing any more singing. The weather's already bad enough. So yeah, we will see you on Clubhouse in a week's time. And yeah, we're on social media in the meantime. Anything you'd like to discuss, anything that you want us to cover, let us know and we will do our best for you. Thank you very much, everybody.
And to recap, so Gavin and I talk about leadership stuff. We talk about conversational skill set. We talk about mindfulness, emotional intelligence, obviously detecting deception, interviewing, interrogation, negotiation, elicitation, body language. What else? Profiling. Statement analysis.
Yeah, statement analysis. That's one of my favorites. Look at this. This is one that I did recently. Look at
you were just on with. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's loads that we can do and that we can cover. And I mean, again, we can step outside the norms. I mean, I do a lot of advice for people who do personal security, who want everything from risk assessments to escape plans and everything in between. So if you've liked what you've seen tonight, please give us a thumbs up now in the chat and let us know that you are happy with what we've discussed, because it gives us a good signal of how things are going and how things what to do in the future. And yeah, it'd probably be quicker to list the things that we wouldn't cover rather than the things that we would. So if we don't know ourselves, we will find you an expert.
Yeah, we can get handwriting analysis as well as something, but also perception and awareness. We can do a lot with situational awareness and perception. That would be kind of fun. Like show a picture. What do you see? I do that to some of my classes and it's so much fun. And we could actually do an activity with all of you guys watching, and I would share my screen and show you a couple pictures I use for some cool activities. So whatever you guys want, let us know. And if we don't hear from you before next week when we do Clubhouse or when we're back here live, we're going to pick it. We'll pick the topic for you.
And we'll always teach you to do fun stuff as well, like, how to Photoshop Waldo out of the Where's Waldo books and things like that. So, loads of things that you can do to kind of wind up the kids and keep them busy, that kind of thing. So, brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time and joining us tonight. I hope it's been of great value to you.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week on Clubhouse. Thanks very much.
All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy to be back, and we'll see you soon. Take care and be safe.